Joe Escalante here at 917 with my guest, as promised, Eduardo Verastegui from the film Bella, which opens October 26th here in Los Angeles and nationwide. It's a tiny film that went to Toronto Film Festival and became a huge film, and it's changing people's lives. Eduardo, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for this.
Eduardo, this guy, Calvin Klein, Versace model, Mexican soap star, Mexican pop star, international film star, and he gave it all up to add more meaning to his life. And then you tell us what happened.
Yeah, well, I started in Mexico singing in a boy band for 3.5 years, a boy band called Cairo. And after that, I started doing soap operas. And, you know, in Mexico, we call them telenovelas in Mexico. You know, if you want to make a living as an actor in Mexico, we don't have so many options like here.
That's why the best actors are on the telenovelas.
Exactly. So over there, you either do soap operas or soap operas. You know, you're stuck on that. So that's what I did for almost 4 years. And then I moved to Miami, capital of Latin America, to record my first solo album in Spanish.
And all of a sudden you got a record deal, your solo album.
And after that, I was flying from Miami to Los Angeles one day to promote that album. And on the plane, I met this person who happens to be the VP of casting for 20th Century Fox, and he's the one who invited me to do this audition for this film. He was working, Chasing Papi. So I told him I don't speak English. I mean, I knew a few words, you know, how to count 1 to 10 and gallina chicken, my guy just read and things like that, you know. But he told me, why don't you just memorize the 5 pages of the audition, give it a try. So that's what I did. I did the audition. I got the part, moved to LA, immersed myself in the language. And I've only been speaking English for a few years, so hope you understand what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, you're doing just fine.
Faring very nicely.
Thank you. And right after that, when I finished that film, that's when I realized that Latinos since the 40s until today, we have been stereotyped in a very negative way, you know, in films or television. You know, always the bandido, the criminal, the thief, the prostitute. And if you're good looking, then you are the Don Juan.
Yes, you're the Sancho.
Latin lover, you know, womanizer. And I realized that very few times you see, you know, Latinos having the opportunity of being, being heroes, and but real heroes, not like science fiction heroes, you know, Superman or Spider-Man, but the real hero. Man of integrity, you know, the man that is willing to sacrifice everything to help his family, his wife, you know. Those Latinos that, you know, that we come here to this country with the spirit of gratitude to work and to serve, and to, you know, we bring our values, our culture, our food, our music, our flavor, our colors, our, you know, the whole thing, you know. And so that's when I was convicted to open a production company and produce films that will have the potential, you know, not only to entertain but to make a difference, you know, films that will light a candle in the heart of the audience. And that's Bella. Bella is my first film as a producer, and I'm very excited about promoting this love story that go beyond romance. And you know, this film shows that there is a time in everyone's life when a moment will change your life forever, and life will never be the same again. And if it hasn't happened to you, it will. And it's about 2 broken souls, you know, helping each other come into life again. You know, I'm just so passionate about this film because of the message. You know, it's very meaningful, and it's very, you know, it's a positive message, and it's a film that I hope when people leave the theater, they will leave wanting to love more and judge less. They will leave inspired to use their talents to serve others, and they will live with hope and love.
It's beautiful, Eduardo. I've seen you speak before. I was at the Rosary Bowl. We've these guys, you know, I've got a little teased. I went to the world's biggest rosary that they had at the Rosary Bowl with my sisters, and I didn't expect, you know, much. And then one moving story after another, and all of a sudden you came with your story, and you were really at the top of a money-making world, and a world that just left you kind of empty. Yeah. And then how did you end up at that Rosary Bowl? Like, I mean, that was like 50,000 people.
What happened over there? Well, you know what? I started my career when I was 18 years old, and the reasons why I wanted to be an actor and why I wanted to be a singer at that age were very superficial reasons. I was very immature. I was very rebel. I'm the oldest one. I have 3 younger sisters, so my father wanted me to be a lawyer. So after the first year of law school,
sounds like my father.
Yeah, we have something in common. So I stopped, you know, going to school, and I just left the whole thing, left my town, and moved to Mexico City to pursue this dream of being an actor, but all for the wrong reasons. You know, everything was very superficial. You know, the money, the fame, success, pleasures, etc.
The pleasures.
And
Sofia Vergara. You're in a film with that. I don't know how I'd walk away from that.
Deal with that. But I was seduced by the whole thing, you know. And then after 12 years of career, I just, you know, I found myself empty and very confused.
Very
and
successful, though.
But you know what? You get to a point that, you know, success is not what's going to bring you happiness and peace. You know, I always use this analogy of the Greyhound dog races. Have you ever seen on TV, the greyhound dog races. You know, they're chasing this rabbit.
That rabbit.
Mechanical, made of metal or plastic. I don't know. I don't know what is it, but they're chasing this thing, and once in a while, one of those dogs bites it, the rabbit.
He gets it.
You know, he hurt himself.
Yeah.
He break their teeth and their jaw, and you know, they bleed and they suffer, and that dog never raced again in his life because he realized that he was chasing a lie. And what is sad is that the rest of the dogs, they end up chasing that fake rabbit forever. So that was me. I was chasing all these things that sometimes society teach you, that if you don't get there to the top of the mountain, if you don't become successful, and if you don't have this or that, then you're nobody. You're a loser, you know. And you know what? I achieved many of those things in Latin America, and I felt like that dog. You know, I felt like, you know, I was bleeding. I was empty. I was like, okay, what's going on? Something is missing here. You know, what's the purpose of life? You know, and everything started because, you know, my English teacher, not only she taught me English, but she started questioning a lot of these things in my life. You know, how are you using your talents? You know, who are you? You know, why are you doing what you're doing? How you choose your films? You know, what kind of stories you want to tell to the world and why? And all these things. And in the beginning, I was too proud to let her in, but she persisted in a very loving way until I realized that she was right in pretty much everything, and I was wrong in pretty much everything. And that's when I had this conviction that sometimes, you know, whoever is involved in the media, we don't assume responsibilities, and we forget that whatever you do, whether you like it or not, you're going to affect how people think and how they live, how they behave. Plato said that if I have to choose between art and politics to govern a nation, I will choose art, because, you know, politics is more like governing the law, making sure that people follow the law. But art, in the contrary, has the power to change people's hearts and minds, therefore how they think, how they live, how they behave. Art governs the hearts of the audience. And I really believe that, especially in these times, young people, you know, we live according to the standards of what we see in the media. We have this tendency, this inclination to copy and to imitate whatever we see in the media. So that's when I realized that, in a way, sometimes, you know, when you use your talents in a very selfish way, and it's all about you're going to end up hurting, you know, people. And
you leave a trail behind you of hurt and broken people.
That's when I, you know, realized that, if, you know, as an actor, sometimes you don't have that power to control the message from A to Z, because when you go there, so if you want to have the control 100% from A to Z of the story, you have to become a producer. So that's why, you know, we opened this production company called Metanoia Films, and with the goal of making films that, you know, that will make a difference. And my goal is to elevate the dignity of Latinos in this country and in the whole world, you know.
Well, you certainly did it with Bella. We're talking to Eduardo Verastegui, and the end of the story is not just Eduardo making art films that nobody's going to see. Your first film, you weren't trying to make money. You're trying to tell the story you want. It goes to Toronto, becomes a favorite in that festival. Now it's got huge distribution relative to how small of a film it looked like it was intended to be. And so it's a big success.
Well, you know,
that's a good lesson for people out there that, like, you know, there is success by following, you know, these kind of dreams.
The definition of success has to change. You know, for example, you know, Blessed Mother Teresa said, we are not called to be successful. We are called to be faithful, you know, to the mission that we were created, you know, And so 5 years ago, I promised that I will never use my talents again to do anything that will offend my Latino community. I will never do anything that will compromise my values and anything that will hurt my family. And it took 4 years, you know. So I thought maybe the price of that commitment was going to be that maybe I never work again, you know.
Make an impact.
But I was in peace with that, you know, and because that's my message, you know. Do not seek to be a person of success. Seek to be a person of value, a person of integrity, you know.
This is such a great thing for people to hear in this town. So I'm glad you came on the air with us to talk about it. And one more thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is how fun you made it look to be Mexican in that film. I mean, to be in that Mexican family, you know, with the food and the love and the warmth. And it was all in New York, too, which we don't usually identify where Mexicans are.
24 days, we wanted to do a celebration of life and a celebration of music and food and flavor. And, I mean, you will see the real face of Latinos, you know, in this film. But it's deeper than Latino. It's just men and women in general. Yeah. It's a universal film, universal values, and it will reach everybody. And the big surprise for us was when we sent the film to one of the biggest film festivals, you know, in the world, which is the Toronto Film Festival. And, you know, it was really a miracle for us because a very small film, small budget film, but with a lot of heart, ended up winning that festival. And now we're so excited about, that the film is coming out in October 26th. So I just want to invite everybody and to enjoy this labor of love that we have done for almost 4 years of just putting this thing together, Bella.
Well, the movie Bella, October 26th. This is Eduardo Verastegui. Is that how you pronounce it? Is that good?
Eduardo Verastegui.
Verastegui.
And don't forget, for more information, if you want to see our trailers, you can go to bellathemovie.com, bellathemovie.com.
Yeah, Bella. Awesome film. Great guest. You're welcome here anytime. All right.
Thank
I
you
look
very
forward to
much,
having you
man.
back again. You're listening to Indie 1031, and The Surf is next.